The hallways buzzed. Rosemont High pulsed with energy. Students rushed to class. Their voices echoed off the lockers. It was a normal day, or so it seemed. Beneath the surface, tension simmered. The Red Hawks huddled near the trophy case. Their rivals, the Blue Bears, glared from across the hall. The Green Arrows, usually a neutral group, seemed on edge. Something was brewing. The air crackled with anticipation. Change was coming to Rosemont High. Whispers spread like wildfire. Alliances shifted. Old rivalries were forgotten. A new threat loomed. The Jaguars, a group notorious for their arrogance and bullying, had gone too far. Their leader, James Carter, had declared war on the other groups. He wanted control of the school. His reign of terror had begun. Fear pulsed through the hallways. Something had to be done. In a secluded corner of the library, two figures met. J. Hawk Mitchell, leader of the Red Hawks, and Jason Bear Roberts, leader of the Blue Bears, eyed each other warily. They were rivals, enemies. But today, they had a common enemy.
We need to work together,
Hawk said, his voice low. Bear nodded, his face grim.
Carter has gone too far.
An alliance was formed. The Red Hawks and Blue Bears would unite. They would stand against the Jaguars. The fate of Rosemont High hung in the balance. The Jaguars strutted through the hallway. Their laughter echoed, a mocking sound. James Carter, tall and muscular, sneered at the other students.
This school belongs to us now.
His words were met with silence. Fear kept the students quiet, but beneath the surface, anger simmered. The Jaguars had gone too far. Their reign of terror would soon end. In Principal Wilson's office, tension crackled. Principal Kennedy from neighboring Northwood High stood opposite him. Kennedy smirked, his eyes filled with malice.
Rosemont is weak, he sneered. My Jaguars will crush them.
Principal Wilson's jaw clenched. He would not stand for this.
Rosemont is united, he said, his voice firm. We will not tolerate your bullying.
The clash was inevitable. The Jaguars gathered near the statue of Lord Tigier, Rosemont's founder. They were smug, confident in their victory, but they were surrounded. The Red Hawks and Blue Bears emerged from the shadows. Their battle cry echoed through the courtyard. The Green Arrows, armed with water balloons and silly string, joined the fray. The ambush was swift and brutal. The Jaguars, caught off guard, were overwhelmed. Principal Wilson, his tie askew, fought alongside his students. He threw a punch that connected with a Jaguar's jaw.
For Rosemont, he roared.
His words ignited the students. They fought with renewed vigor. The tide was turning. The Jaguars were on the run. The Jaguars, defeated and humiliated, retreated. James Carter, his face contorted in rage, glared at Hawk and Bear.
This isn't over. You haven't seen the last of me.
He disappeared into the crowd, his threat hanging in the air. The students of Rosemont had won the battle, but the war was far from over. Principal Wilson, his suit rumpled but his spirit strong, addressed the students.
Today, we stood together. We showed them what it means to be a part of Rosemont High.
He paused, his gaze sweeping over the crowd.
But this is just the beginning. We must remain united. We must not let old rivalries divide us. Peace is fragile. We must cherish it.
Hawk and Bear stood face to face, the remnants of the battle around them. They had fought side by side, their rivalry momentarily forgotten. Now they looked at each other with newfound respect.
No more fighting.
Hawk extended his hand. Bear hesitated for a moment, then grasped it firmly.
Agreed.
A truce was forged. The Red Hawks and Blue Bears would stand together, united against any threat to Rosemont High. Section 11. Library Showdown. The library, once a sanctuary of knowledge, was now the setting for a new showdown. The Tigers and Lions, two groups known for their academic rivalry, glared at each other across a table piled high with textbooks. Our science project is better, snarled the leader of the Tigers, her voice dripping with disdain. Your hypothesis is flawed, retorted the leader of the Lions, his eyes flashing with anger. The argument escalated, threatening to erupt into violence. Section 12. Green Arrows intervene. Just as the first punch was about to be thrown, a voice rang out.
Break it up!
The Green Arrows, led by their president, Sarah Arrow Jones, stepped between the warring factions.
This isn't the Rosemont way, Sarah said, her voice firm but calm.
Her words gave the tigers and lions pause. They looked around at the faces of their fellow students, faces that reflected disappointment and disapproval. Shamefaced, they lowered their fists. The green arrows had intervened, preventing another conflict. Section 13, Video Game Victory. In the glow of the computer screen, another battle raged. Principal Wilson and Principal Kennedy faced off in EA Sports College Football 25. The score was tied, the tension palpable. Wilson's fingers flew across the controller, his face a mask of concentration. Kennedy, his face contorted in frustration, slammed his fist on the table as Wilson intercepted his pass and scored the winning touchdown. The final score, Wilson 82, Kennedy 9, a decisive victory for Rosemont. Section 14, Prayer for Rosemont. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the school grounds, the students of Rosemont High gathered in the courtyard. They stood together, united in their love for their school. Principal Wilson, his voice filled with emotion, led them in a prayer.
Dear God, he began, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to learn and grow together. We ask for your guidance as we navigate the challenges that lie ahead. Help us to remember the lessons we have learned. Help us to be kind to one another. Help us to be the best versions of ourselves. Amen.
The students echoed his amen, their voices a chorus of hope and unity. As they dispersed, a sense of uneasy calm settled over Rosemont High. The battles of the day were over, but the fight for peace and unity was a never-ending one.